So this isn't the best way to lower an engine, but essentially this bracket is holding it up by the support bar in the corner here, in the corner here, behind on the oil pan, and right here. Well, there's 4 bolts you have to take out in the corners there. Once you do that, the car will raise up, and hopefully the engine won't fall off this lift, but it won't be connected to the car anymore. All right, we took out the exhaust, we took out the front sway bar that's over there, jacked it up on the front wheels, disconnected the starting motor, took out the alternator, took out the fans that are behind the radiator, disconnected the power steering rack, leaked a bunch of power steering fluid and radiator fluid everywhere, took out the intake manifold in the front, disconnected all the wiring up here, disconnected the battery of course, took off the fuel rack, a lot of electrical stuff was removed. This is a very unabridged guide on how to take out a friggin' engine. Just for the record, I'm not a fan of this idea. Okay, so basically, so I am recording this as I'm editing the final video, and what I've condensed into about a minute and a half fun montage actually ended up being about 2 hours of pretty difficult work. So our intention was to pull the motor forward off of the drive shaft and then raise the car up to get the motor out, but the clutch housing ended up being in the way of the drive shaft, so we wouldn't have been able to clear the drive shaft as we raised the car up. So after trying a couple things to try and pull the drive shaft back, we ended up having to pull the clutch housing off of the motor as it was on the stand that we made, which we weren't planning on, and it took longer than we thought, but we were eventually able to get it off. What we thought would be a pretty simple removal took a decent amount of time, and 90% of the time it went more at this speed. 3, 2, 1.
Free hanging motor.
That is probably the least efficient way to pull a motor out of a car.
First time.
Emergency clutch housing removal worked, sort of. Oh yeah, that's one way to remove a motor from a car. Yeah, this is weird. Standing in the middle of a car and being able to see a ceiling. Engine's out, so next step is to get the new engine all set up and plop it back in the car.
A few moments later.
Alright, so apparently I get to back out the 911 today, so this will be an experience.
The home style and a medium fry. That's it.
Okay, total is 13.17 at the second window. Thank you.
Thanks.
So we've got, what, 7 days to get parts off of here. Put them on the new motor. Put the new motor into there. And then make sure the car doesn't, catch on fire and explode before we drive it for 3 hours. It's gonna be ambitious, but I think we can do it.
So this is what the exhaust pieces look like after being sandblasted. "31 years of heat and rust. They don't quite look like new, but I'd say they could last another 31 years. Should be fine." Look.
Actually, they look pretty good.
Do look like motor mounts.
No, they look pretty good. They're not all torn.
What torque specs are those?
I don't know, but it'll tell you. They're tight. They're tight.
Good enough, I guess. It's a pretty simple bolt order to follow. Nothing too complicated there.
Bending that a little bit, isn't it?
A little bit.
We'll just take a pair of pliers and bend it straight. And bend a little too.
Yeah, that used to be straight, and it's not anymore.
Uh-oh. That didn't sound good.
What didn't sound good?
It just stretched and popped.
You kidding?
Nope. This one, on the other hand, is going to be a little trickier.
Yeah, because that one's sort of in there.
That could be anything. Nope. It's bad now.
So what does that mean if we...
Maybe strip the nut inside.
So the motor mounts are bad now.
This one is. Oh, it's tight. I don't know, it's just not grabbing right.
Can we get motor mounts in the next day?
Box over there.
Okay. Well, at least it's not too big a setback. Temperature right now, 87 degrees outside. And we're in a giant metal box. Yeah, but if you rock the motor on the stand, you drop it. That's stupid. Don't do that. I guess we did need new motor mounts. Can come back tomorrow morning or later tonight if it's cool enough. In an ideal world, that wouldn't have happened. Those wouldn't have stripped out. We would have had the clutch on by now. But you know.
God, part of me wants to throw that clutch on.
Alright, well, I'm taking your keys then. Let me know when you're done.
Ooh.
Shiny. Yeah, it's only 87 degrees and we're trapped in a metal box, so we'll come back later tonight. Alright, so we have 6 days to get this done. It's gonna be a time crunch, but we can try. It's pretty simple. All we have to do is get that into there and make sure it doesn't explode. So what's the next step?
Go for it.
Does that mean putting it back in the car? Yep. So we got to start a bit forward and then sort of lower it and push it back and lower it and push it back, right? Yep. Alright, one engine install completed.
Almost.
Just about. Still a bit of stuff we gotta do. Alright, so we still gotta connect it to the torque tube. Alright, next step is reconnect the wheels, and then we'll be back on all 4 wheels. It's in though. There's a brand new engine in this car. And probably tomorrow night we can get it running, so all we need is 2 more bolts on that torque tube, a starting motor, a steering rack, some hosing, some wiring, intake manifold, radiator fans, hook the AC and the alternator back up to everything.
Exhaust.
Oh yeah, that's right, we need an exhaust too. Luckily that's the easy stuff. As soon as we get everything back on, that part starts leaking brake fluid. Well, and I guess we are definitely not making P2O if that's another friggin' part that's broken.